Some people might recall some momentary buzz caused a couple years ago by a particularly odd Morrowind mod. The file name was Jvk1166z.esp. It was never posted on any of the larger Elder Scrolls communities, usually just smaller boards and role-playing groups. I know in a few cases, rather than being posted, it was sent via PM or email to a chosen few. It was only up for a few days, to the best of my knowledge. It caused a buzz because it was a virus, or seemed to be. If you tried to load the game with the mod active, it would hang at the initial load screen for a full hour and then crash the desktop. If you allowed to get that far, your installed Morrowind, along with any save files you had, would become completely corrupted. Nobody could figure out what the mod was trying to do, since it couldn't be opened in the construction set. Eventually, warnings were distributed not to use it if you found it, and things died down. About a year later, in a mod board I used to frequent, someone popped up with the mod again. He said it was PM'd to him by a lurker who deleted his account immediately after sending. He also said the person invited him to try playing the mod through DOS box. For some reason, this worked, sort of. The game was a bit laggy, and you couldn't get into options, load game, the console, or really anything else other than the game itself. The quick save and quick load hot buttons worked, but that was it. And the quick save file seemed to be just part of the game file, so you couldn't get at it anymore. Some speculated that the changed game used an older graphics renderer, making DOS box necessary, but it didn't look any different. This part I can speak about from personal experience. When you start up a new game in JVK, as the board came to call it, once you left the starting bit and sense of softness and came into the game proper, the first thing you notice is that the prophecy has been severed box pops up. This is because every single NPC having to do with the main quest is dead, with the sole exception of Yagra and Bargain. The last is the Dwemer. Their corpses never despawn, so you can go and check on all of them. In effect, you begin in a world that is doomed to start with. The second thing you notice is that you're losing health. It's only a bit, but it keeps happening a little bit at a time. The longer you stay in one place, the quicker it seems to occur. If you let this health loss kill you, you'll find the cause. A figure we came to call the Assassin, because he seems to wear a retextured version of the Dark Brotherhood armor from Tribunal, even though the expansions don't work in JVK. It's all black, completely untextured, like he's just a hole in space. The way he moves gave me quite a start the first time I saw him scuttling around my dead body. He crawls inhumanly on his hands and feet, and his arms and legs are splayed out like a spider. You usually only see him after death, crawling around and over your body just before the reload box pops up. Occasionally you can catch a glimpse of him darting around a corner or crawling up a wall or ceiling. This made the game very difficult to play at night. Other than that, the only noticeable difference is that at night, at random intervals, every NPC in the game will go outside for a few minutes. During this time, the only thing they will say when hailed is, "Watch the sky." Once they return to their normal behavior, they act like normal though. After a while, a player on the board discovered a new NPC named Tiaris, a male Dunmer at the temple at Ghostgate. Two things are notable about this NPC. First is his robe, a unique article of clothing that was lovingly rendered with twinkling stars all across it, looking like a torn-off chunk of the night sky. The second is that his dialogue, in addition to showing up in the dialogue box, is voiced. You can skip it if you wish, but it all sounds like it's in the default male Dunmer voice. Some people say the voice was slightly different, but it was a very, very good imitation. I won't go into the details, but the questline he sends you on has to do with a dungeon referred to simply as the Citadel. Up until this point, the quests are, while fairly generic, discover the secrets of the Ancients event. The entrance to this dungeon is on a small island to the far west of Morrowind proper. I eventually discovered that if you use a Scroll of Ichor in flight, at the westernmost point on the main landmass and jump directly west, you'll end up almost exactly at the island. Even though the dungeon is called the Citadel, it goes straight down. It dwarfs any other dungeon, both in size and difficulty. From a natural cave area, you proceed down into an ancestral tomb-looking area, then a Daedric ruin area, then a Dwemer ruin area. I made it down to the Dwemer ruins before I quit. The creatures here were strong enough so that even a level 20 character would have to take care, and since you can't use the console in JVK, level 20 took a while to get to. Since quick save and quick load are your only options, it's all too easy to get yourself in an impossible situation, too. I did, and I just didn't have the energy to start over. Now what I'm telling you is based on what those few who went farther reported. Past the Dwemer ruins, you'll find yourself in a level like the Dwemer ruins, but darker. Rather than the usual bronze, all the surfaces, including those of the creatures, are black. The sounds of machinery are loud here, and grow louder still, randomly. There's also steam or fog everywhere, limiting your vision to about 10 in-game feet or so. If you can make it through all this, you will reach a hall that those who found it called Portrait Room. Like the fire and torches and other effects from early 3D games, this room had picture frames that always face directly at you, no matter how you look at them. The images in the frames are always randomly chosen from your My Pictures folder. On the board, the ones who got there had some fun posting screenshots of the portrait room, with various posters in the frames. At the end of the hall was a locked door. After a minute of Peyton returning to TRS, everyone found him saying, "Watch the sky," in his gravelly voice. What's more, nobody else in the game could say anything. There was just a completely blank dialogue box with no options at all. They wouldn't even rattle off the usual canned audible greetings. The only exception was at night. Whenever they'd go out for a few minutes, they still repeated, "Watch the sky." At this point, one of the players, a friend of mine from the board, noticed, and the few others who got this far agreed, that the night sky was no longer the usual night sky of Tamriel. It had changed to a depiction of a real night sky, and it moved. From this point on, everything is based on what this one person reported. Eventually, he got himself kicked from the board, but I kept in contact with him for as long as he responded. According to him, based on the constellations and planets, the sky started around February 2005. If you died, loaded, or went back to the Citadel, it would start over. When the usual day sky graphics took over, the movement would be suspended until stars appeared again. In the spaces of a single night, everything moved about 2 months' worth. Since the timescale of Jvk was more or less that of the standard game, that meant a bit less than an hour was equal to a 24-hour period. He became convinced that the door would open based on some sort of celestial event. Of course, this meant leaving the game running. Of course, that meant that the game couldn't be left unattended, thanks to our old friend the assassin. My friend decided to hang out for a whole day just to see if anything happened. That would be about a year's worth of movement. Here's the post he made at the end of this experiment. I loaded in St. Anine, where it all starts. It wasn't too bad, just had to check in now and then, move around and heal just to make sure I wasn't dying. But check it out, 24 hours exactly in, and the assassin learned a new trick. He screams. I was reading, and all of a sudden this crazy loud shriek just about makes me crap myself. It's like something out of a horror movie. I look up, and there he is, just crouched down right in front of me. Of course, the second I moved my character, it ran off. When I went back down to the portrait room, the door was still locked. Why? A bit later, he came to the decision that he needed to wait 3 years. 3 days. 3 years. The PM advising us to try DOS box showed up in February 2008, was his reasoning. After the first shriek, the assassin stops hitting you out of nowhere. Now he'll shriek, and if you don't move after a few seconds, then he hits you. I think whoever made the mod was trying to help. At night, I got my headphones in, and I was just kind of dozing off. And when he wakes me up with a shriek, I jiggle the mouse, and I'm good. That post was 2 days in, from his laptop. Once it was over, no, I am so done. So I wait 3 days, right? And right after the assassin makes me jiggle my mouse, he shrieks again. So I look, and everyone in the town is outside. They're all saying, "Watch the sky." I don't see anything, though, but the game starts getting dark, like really dark. I turn up the brightness all the way on my monitor, and I can still barely see. I can see other people in the game, little figures running around in the distance, just running back and forth. If I try to get close to them, they run off. Now, I was trying to sleep, so the lights are off, and this is kind of creepy. I don't want to get off to turn my lights on because I don't want to miss anything. But nothing happens. Eventually, I go back to the Citadel. It's still dark, and I gotta swim, and the whole time I can see all these guys just swimming around me, just barely there. I make it to the Citadel, and it's normal light inside, and I get worried. Sure enough, the portrait door is still closed and locked. I go outside, and it's all starting over. So that's it. I'm done. I'm going to bed. The end. After that, 2 things happened. First, another of the people who got to the portrait room claimed that the assassin started showing up in his regular Morrowind game. Quick explanation, if you reinstall Morrowind to a different folder, you can still have a normal Morrowind game along with Jvk. He himself chalked it up to an overactive imagination at first, but he reported a couple of really big scares from the black figure crawling right at him, or seeing it waiting for him just around the corner before scuttling off. None of those who reached the portrait room started a regular Morrowind game, but never saw him for sure. There's just a couple of maybes late at night. The second is that my friend started getting really abusive and short-tempered on the board when he was let back on, though. And he stopped talking about Jvk entirely. It got so bad that he was soon kicked off again. I didn't hear anything from him for a whole couple of weeks after that, so I sent him an email. This was part of his reply. I know I shouldn't, but with classes out, I've got some time, so I started up Jvk again. It's almost 2012, and I think I've got sleep madness. But stuff is happening. It's still dark. Once it gets dark, it never gets any lighter. It stays like that. The people moved a few months ago. Everyone in the St. Anine just went to that little bandit cave and moved in. We killed the bandits inside, now they're just standing around. They don't say anything anymore. They don't do anything when you click on them. I quick saved and killed one, and he just stood there and died without fighting back. And it's like that everywhere. You have to walk, since all the quick travel people are in caves now too. But all the cities and towns are deserted. All the people are in caves and tombs. Everyone in Vivek is down in the sewers. I'm going to go skate next. I want to see if TRS is still there. I'll tell you what he says when I get there. I replied and said I wanted to see what he said too, and waited today. When I didn't get a reply, I mailed him again, and a couple of hours later he sent back. Sorry, I totally forgot. So it's 2014 now. Since it's always night, stars are always moving. The whole screen is dark, but you can still see the brightest stars moving around. TRS is gone. Everyone in Ghost Gate was gone. I don't know where they went. They're not in any of the nearby caves, but there's new stuff. People still don't say anything, but their eyes are bleeding. It's so dark that even with a light spell, you have to get right up against them. But there they are, little dark streaks coming down from their eyes. I think I gotta be getting close. I know this is stupid, and there's no way the payoff is going to be worth it, but I just want to be able to say I stuck it out. I got that one during the day. Later that night, I got a follow-up email. Some of the planets aren't moving right. It's getting me mad. If this keeps up, I won't be able to keep track anymore. It's almost 2015 now, I think. You know what? I just noticed there aren't any monsters anymore either. I'm completely alone outside. The main class people bodies are still laying around though. I want to check on them. I don't need any headphones anymore, so I leave them off. When he shrieks, it's like he's screaming right into my ear. I think I can even kind of anticipate it. He's around a lot more now, a lot closer. He's different from the other people who started showing up, remember? They keep running around just where I can barely see them. I have to admit, it's kind of creepy at night. Sometimes when I go to the bathroom or whatever, I swear I can see something out of the corner of my eye. I'm keeping all the lights on now. I sent him a letter, jokingly telling him to get some real sleep, and left it at that. 2 mornings later, I found this in my email. It was the last thing I got from him. After this, he stopped responding completely. I just got up from a messed up dream, I think. The assassin shrieked at me, and when I opened my eyes, he was right there, crouching over me. His arms and legs were longer, more like a spider's. I tried to push him away, but when I touched him, my hands just went inside, and I couldn't get them loose again, like he was made of tar or something. And then I woke up. I thought he was gone. I looked at my monitor, and I wasn't where I was. I was in the Compersium, the Agrum. For once, the light was okay, and I could see him all bloated on those mechanical spider legs. I sat down at the computer and started talking to me. Not in a box, but really talking to me in TRS's voice. He knew things about me. He told me things that I never told anyone. Some things I totally forgot about. He told me almost nobody had made it this far and that the door would open soon. I just had to hang on a little while longer. He said I'd know when it was time. He said I might be the first to get one to see what was inside. And then I woke up for real, but I was at the computer. I still wasn't where I was. I'm swimming out to Citadel Island. I can hear this tapping. It's at my window over to the left. So I'm sending you this because I left my laptop on my bed to the right. Just a little tap, tap, tap. Like he's knocking a finger against the glass. I might still be dreaming now. So I guess that's the end of the story. I know there's a few other stories floating around about the mod, but this is the only one I know is true, as far as it goes. I deleted my JVK copy of the game pretty much right after I gave up, but I'd like to get the mod again, if anyone still has a copy of the file. I'd like to see some of this for myself.